Hello everybody, welcome back once again. We are playing Triangle Strategy. Just about to start chapter 4. Let's save here really quickly.
His diplomatic visit as Lord of the House complete, Serenoa returns to the Wolfort domain. Safely within Glenbrook, Roland and Huette retire to Whiteholm in the Crown City. Alas, there is no time for rest in House Wolfort, as Serenoa soon finds himself swept up in preparations for his wedding to Frederica. Dragan, meanwhile, presides over the blasting of a new tunnel at the Grand Norzelian mines.
That should be the end of that bothersome bedrock. Investigate it at once.
What in the name of iron?
What is it? Do we require more explosives?
No, Lord Dragan. You best come see for yourself.
What the? It couldn't be.
That settles the wedding program, then. We still must decide upon the wedding dress, however.
Not we, Benedict. Surely the lady herself must decide. What do you desire, Frederica?
Well...
Hadn't you mentioned wanting to dress in the Rosellan custom for the ceremony?
Then you'd best ask the Roselle about that. There's a Rosellan village here in the domain. I'm sure they'd make you a dress, if you asked.
But what of the other nations in attendance? Surely Hyzant would not look kindly upon it. Lord Simon, is it true that you assisted the Roselle who fled Hyzant during the war, and that you then granted them asylum here?
Aye, that is how the Roselle came to live within our domain.
It was a source of great tension, but in the end, Lord Simon's perseverance prevailed, and a group of Roselle found new homes here. To this day, the Holy State demands they be returned to Hyzant, citing their goddess's teachings as justification.
The roots of the conflict run deep. Nevertheless, it is our duty to protect those who we have sworn to take under our wing. Should you choose to dress in the Rosellan custom, we shall stand behind you every step of the way.
Is that so? Then... I see not how I could refuse such a kindness.
I shall accompany you to the village. To tell the truth, I have never been there myself. It would be a good opportunity to get to know them, to strengthen our bonds.
As is your duty, my son.
Rosellan custom it is, then. Let us depart at once to make the request.
Aye, all of us. Ooh, I can't wait to see what they come up with.
Okay, so next up is the exploration event. Looks like that's gonna be it. Yeah, no side stories. So it says, Serenoa visits the Rosellan village in his domain for the first time in hopes that they will make his betrothed's wedding dress.
Greetings and welcome, Lord Serenoa and Lady Frederica. My name is Jerome. I bid you welcome on behalf of the Roselle. And congratulations on your engagement, as well as assuming lordship of your house.
You have my gratitude. We hope you will continue to lend your support to House Wolford.
You have my word. I owe your Lord Father a great debt. Though, even were that not the case, you are engaged to one of our own in Lady Frederica. Few things could bring us more joy. We shall make the finest dress you have ever seen.
On that subject, I have one humble request. I would like to incorporate this pendant into the design.
The pendant you're never without.
'Tis one of a kind, left to me by my late mother. She was one of the Rosellan refugees who fled Hyzant during the war and found her way to Aesfrost. In a twist of fate, she fell in love with the former Archduke, and thus was I born. In secret, of course. After I was born, she was sent back to Hyzant, where she met her end.
I see why it never leaves you. Pray fashion the dress in this pendant's image.
It shall be done, my lord. Let us delay no further. Lady Frederica, please step inside, that we may take your measurements.
Thank you kindly.
The measurements may take some time, Lord Serenoa. Perhaps you'd care to take a stroll and see the village while you wait.
I'd very much like that. Thank you.
Okay, perhaps I'll have a look around the village and get to know its people while they're taking her measurements. Let's start with this Rosellan here. Your hair certainly does make you stand out, my lord. We don't get many visitors to our fair village. The elder has a conviction choice. Let's see here. We came to this land in the midst of the Salt Iron War, desperate to escape Hyzant's extraordinary cruelty. Your father then granted us asylum in our hour of need, shielding us from further harm. Okay, so the top option is morality, middle is liberty, and the bottom is utility. It looks like I'm at about, let's see here, 5, 6, that's 3, I'm at about 300 morality for my choices. 200 liberty and 150 utility. Let's go with the utility option here. Which again is the bottom option. So, and I intend to honor that. Let us work together and make this land a prosperous one for your people. I cannot thank you enough for those kind words. May they be a beacon of hope for the generations to come. We will do all in our power to make it so. Father granted the Roselle asylum on our lands. Though they once hailed from Hyzant, they are now as much a part of the Wolford domain as anyone else. Alright, let's talk to this guy next. Lord Simon offered us his protection without a word about our origins or our troubled history. His generosity is boundless, and I fear we shall never repay it. Instead, I simply pray that our village remains protected. I bear a great responsibility to these people. It falls to me to keep their land free from harm no matter what the cost. And that's Serenoa's duty. Right, Anna says, the Roselle here share a portion of the forest bounty with House Wolford each year as thanks for their safekeeping. Their quality pelts and fresh fruit make for a significant portion of House Wolford's capital. So Jerome says, I am eternally grateful to House Wolford. We would not be alive today if not for your father. As a steward of this village, I pray we can work together to ensure a lasting peace. Oh, I'm sorry, we would not be alive today if not for your protection, not your father. I assume that was father, but... Alright, here's 300 coin. Here's the added, the Marvels of Norzelia Volume 10. Eredor says, I couldn't believe my eyes when the Roselle arrived in the domain during the Salt Iron War. I'd never seen anyone so downtrodden. Moves me to my core to see them thriving in peace times after all they went through. Now we just gotta keep them safe. Regret to say this is my first time visiting the Rosellan village. Happy to see that they've flourished under Lord Simon's protection these last 30 years. Let's see here. Notes. Oh, I'm way behind on these notes. Holy crap. So the Marvels of Norzelia Volume 1 says the Kingdom of Glenbrook's crown city is situated along the banks of the Norzelia River. Once plagued by frequent deadly floods, previous monarchs oversaw projects to control the river's flow, transporting the capital into the idyllic city people know today. A bustling town in crystalline waters dotted with merchant ships from all over the realm, there is no more fitting image for the Kingdom of Commerce. To top it all off, Whiteholm Castle has come to be known as Norzelia's most picturesque palace. There's more to the castle than its beautiful exterior. Genius feats of engineering went into constructing such a mammoth in the middle of the river, which becomes the castle's best defense the moment the bridge is raised. Out of all the castles ever built over Norzelia's storied history, there is no question that Whiteholm is the most impressive. So here's Marvels of Norzelia Volume 10. Situated at the edge of the Hyzantian Desert, the Citadel of the Sands is the Holy State's first line of defense. It has been the site of countless battles throughout history, including the vicious border skirmishes of the Salt Iron War. Due to its importance, one of the Saintly Seven has always overseen its command. After the Salt Iron War, Minister Sorceley End assumed the position and began the work of developing the Citadel into a trading post. To think that a place that has witnessed so much bloodshed could transform into a peaceful hub of commerce, life truly is full of surprises. Perhaps that is why, though Hyzant rarely gets visitors from other lands, here I often catch glimpses of people whose providence I cannot discern, or perhaps it is only my imagination. Alright, Secret Tactics, Scroll of Heaven. Scroll of Heaven, yeah. Cavalry and Hawk Riders are known for their superior mobility. This grants them the ability to move freely across the battlefield, although venturing too far from their allies leaves them without support and puts them at risk of a concentrated enemy attack. They should therefore stay close to the main force and utilize their mobility to either flank or get behind enemies who draw near. While acting alone can be dangerous, a team of 3 or more cavalry units or Hawk Riders can prove quite advantageous in battle. They can provide much needed support to each other and actively intercept enemy troops or assail soldiers lurking in the distance. Doing so would separate them from allies with healing magic, so taking recovery pellets would be a must. Alone, cavalry units and Hawk Riders are challenging to handle, but their real strength lies in their numbers. So what is the best way to make use of their exceptional mobility? The question gives insight into a commander's true worth. One must be swift, but never hasty. Speed can be your greatest asset or your greatest enemy. Alright, here's the history of Glenbrook. The Kingdom of Glenbrook is the oldest of the 3 nations existing today. Though there have been changes to the branch of families, the blood of the founder still runs strong in the veins of the current King Regna. The Holy State of Hyzant asserts that their nation was founded first according to the goddess's scriptures, and that Glenbrook's long history is a fabrication of later generations. Glenbrook has continued to ignore this claim. The Grand Duchy of Esfrost was founded by the Archduke's family, who shared a common ancestor with the royal family of Glenbrook. They insisted upon their right to succeed the throne up until the Salt Iron War began, and denied the current royal family's rule. But when the war began, they acknowledged the family's legitimacy, and the 2 nations formed a secret alliance. It is said that King Regna required the former Archduke Zygmunt to officially recognize his rule in order to enter into an alliance. Alright, here is the children's textbook Salt in Norzelia. On the condition of Salt in Norzelia, what is something that humans absolutely cannot survive without? Yes, that is water, and question A. Water is easy enough to come by. Our realm is crisscrossed by rivers, and it is a simple matter to dig a well. Salt, on the other hand, is exceedingly rare. In all of Norzelia, it can be found only in question B, located in the vast deserts of Hyzant. All salt is regulated by question C, which is the Norzelia Consortium. How much it costs at the market. This is basically this is a test, right? A kid's test. The market changes depending on how much question D, salt tax, is added, which is figured from factors such as production and manufacturing expenses. Here's the development of the Norzelia Consortium. Alright, let's see here. After the Salt Iron War fought over Hyzant's sole ownership of salt, the Norzelia Consortium was established to oversee the equal distribution of salt and iron to the realm. The three nations brought together trade specialists to create this neutral and impartial organization as agreed upon in the Accords. The consortium's success in fair trade contributed greatly to the reconstruction of Norzelia, which had been ravaged by the war. The kingdom of Glenbrook, rich in agriculture and fisheries, prospered due to the stable influx of salt from this consortium. The people were able to produce large quantities of salted meats, dried fish, dairy products, and more. Exports of these goods helped restore national power. Though it was thought to be the dawn of a new age for Norzelia, Hyzant began to strengthen its voice within the consortium as the reconstruction progressed. In Esfrost, on the other hand, the situation could not have been worse. Its already small population suffered the greatest number of casualties during the war, and reviving the iron industry was taking longer than anticipated. To make matters worse, salt prices soared within the duchy due to taxes and transportation fees from the distant Hyzant. Though iron exports were meant to balance salt imports, the nation's labor and iron shortage caused it to accrue a large trade deficit. Though the consortium was meant to adjust that imbalance, it did not take any drastic measures. Rather, it leaned more toward Hyzant and establishing salt as the main axis of trade. There are some who believe that the Hierophant, unable to accept that the war ended in a draw due to the injuries on all sides, had a hand in this and wished Esfrost to take responsibility for the war. Though the truth is unknown, it is undeniable that Esfrost is the only nation at such a major disadvantage. The duchy's dissatisfaction naturally mounted, and a tension much like the one before the Salt Iron War began descended upon Norzelia. It concerned King Regna and Simon Wolfort then summoned the other nations to participate in a joint mining venture at the Grand Norzelian mines. Their aim was not only to ease the tension between the duchy and the Holy State, but also offer support for the former's iron industry and correct the trade imbalance between both nations. The entire realm watches this new venture with hopeful eyes, praying that it will finally create the much-needed balance between salt and iron and restore the original functions of the Norzelia Consortium. If it succeeds, then perhaps our realm will finally know peace, and the tragedies of the Salt Iron War will be a thing of the past. Yeah, so I think that actually this, these notes really make it obvious how important the joint mining venture is, right? It's supposed to kind of balance everything out, and yeah, I think it did just reading that makes it more obvious now. All right, so here's the Eternal Norzelia River. The Norzelia River has two tributaries with unique properties. The western branch, running from the snowy Norzelian mountains, is filled with water year-round. Though the water levels are now under control, the tributary was once quite turbulent and prone to floods. Many areas with swift currents still remain, however, and prove challenging to inexperienced sailors. Only Esfrost ships, armed with the full knowledge of the river's waters, are able to navigate these currents. The other tributary, stemming from the eastern deserts, flows calmly throughout. The gentle sloping of the river also allows for easy upstream passage. Water transport flourishes for most of the year, although low water levels in some seasons make the voyage near impossible for large vessels. The two branches converge into a single mighty river at Glenbrook and flow south to the Norzelia Falls. Backed out there on accident. Alright, so here's salt and meats. My predecessor once asked me what the most delicious thing in all the realm was. The answer, salt. Imagine what food would taste like without these little grains of flavor. Then my predecessor asked what the most disgusting thing in the realm was. The answer, salt. Imagine what food would taste like under a mountain of the stuff. I recall this conversation every time I make cured meats. Too little salt, and those rich flavors we crave will never develop. Too much, and the result will be nigh inedible. And yet it is one of life's greatest mysteries that curing meats in brine has nothing to do with how salty it will turn out. I am no believer in the goddess's teachings, but I cannot help wondering if perhaps she has some hand in this phenomenon. Okay. Another of life's greatest mysteries is how exquisitely a glass of red wine pairs with perfectly salted sautéed meat and cheese on rye. Alright. Here's a recruitment notice. It says, in need of miners, description, excavation work at Grand Norzelian mines. Experience preferred, but not required. Hazard wages included. Now recruiting for the Esfrost army. Hone yourself into a blade to protect the Grand Duchy. Could you be the next elite member of the Black Irons? Ironsmiths wanted prerequisite. Applicants must have mastery level ironworking skill. Note, successful hires agree to keep all work confidential. Wages are equal to level of skill. Bonuses possible. And then low risk, high wage position open. Goods shipment, same day payment, enough money to feed a family for a year, guaranteed. That seems unlikely. Alright, next up is Condemn the Corrupt Consortium. We will expose the corruption within the Norzelia Consortium. The Consortium was originally created to ensure the fair trade of salt among the three nations. However, 30 years have passed, and now the founding principles have been lost, and salt inequity ravages our realm once more. As you readers know, Hyzant imposes a high tax on all the salt it exports. This tax was lowered immediately after the war ended, but is now even higher than before the war began. Though the Holy State claims a salt shortage to be behind this, no one can ascertain the condition of the source, and most speculate it is merely Hyzant setting the price. The Consortium should be responsible for righting these wrongs, but they are at the Holy State's beck and call. To make matters worse, they impose even higher taxes on salt bound for Esfrost to line their own pockets. As a result, salt is now a luxury in the Grand Duchy. Its people are impoverished, and the nation's development has all but come to a halt. The situation is all too similar to that of the eve of the Salt Iron War, and if left unchecked, could result in yet another horrible tragedy. To prevent that and see the Consortium's original purpose restored, we must first bring their wrongdoings to light. To that end, I am currently investigating the Consortium with the aforementioned convictions in mind. My wise readers, it is time for us to raise our voices together for the future of all of Norzelia. Kind of wonder who actually wrote that. All right. Anyways, excuse me. That is all for the notes. I think I've talked to everybody in here. Let's talk to this guy. I see no way we could. Yeah, we already talked to that guy. All right. Though we may be under House Wolfort's protection, we dare not leave the village. The goddess's faithful will haul us straight back to the source if they catch sight of us. Yeah, the old what did they call those? The slave patrols? Yeah. Here's another cat. Definitely want to talk to that if you're looking to get the achievement. We'll just be a bit longer taking Lady Frederica's measurements. Please have a look around the village in the meanwhile. And then here we've got another conviction choice with this child. It's no fun staying in the village all the time. I want to go play somewhere else. But Mother gets mad at me if I go too far. Let's see. I think I might go Liberty on this one. So that's the top option. Middle option is Unity, and the bottom is Morality. So let's do this. Again, we're going to go with the Liberty choice. All right. Just marking that down. Liberty choice number 5. Wow, really? I want to see all the big ships in the harbor. You have my word. We'll look at the ships all you like. Just do as your mother says for now. I will. Oh, I can't wait to grow up. Right, here's an HP recovery pellet. Let's see here. We've made our home here in the valley in the hopes we'd not be discovered. Use the lay of the land to our advantage, like. That makes sense. We must be strong and vigilant if we are to maintain the peace we have enjoyed on these lands. I pray today's hunt goes well. I'd love to fetch a fine pelt for House Wolfort. Let's go up here, I guess. We play together almost every day. Today we're climbing the ladder to the roof and playing lookouts. Oh my god, that's adorable. Did I talk to this one? Pretty sure I did. Yeah. I talked to her already. Alright, I think that's it. I think I've spoken with everybody. Yep, grabbed all the items. Yeah, I talked to that guy up top. Talked to that guy. Yeah, I think we're good. Alright, let's, this one say? Yeah. Okay. Alright, let's end this exploration phase. Surely they'll have finished taking her measurements by now.
Do you understand just how dangerous it is for a young prince to go gallivanting off on a whim?
Punish me if you will. But if I hadn't gone gallivanting, I never would have learned the state of things outside our own kingdom.
Oh? Well, if you are so interested in international affairs, then I have a fitting role for you to play. You will oversee the Grand Norzelian mines.
Father, it would be a privilege.
I fear that punishment would provoke no reflection, and so I would rather put your energies to work for the kingdom.
I shan't let you down, Father.
I am not blind to your feelings, my son. I understand that my methods vex you. Nevertheless, I ask that you stay out of harm's way, and give me no reason to worry.
Of course.
Mining is grueling, thankless work. Show the miners the appreciation they deserve.
I shall. You have my word.
The necessary provisions have been arranged, Your Highness. You are to deliver them to Dragan.
Father, may I bring Lord Wolfort? It is his job to oversee the operation after all. And his closeness with Dragan may engender goodwill.
I know you trust him a great deal, Roland. But I would remind you that his betrothal now binds him to Esfrost. You would do well to be wary of any move he or his house might make.
So you share Franny's views on the matter. Nevertheless, Serenoa is a friend I could never hope to replace. A friend I trust no matter your opinion of him.
Concerning words, Your Highness, House Wolfort must be subject to the same scrutiny as any other.
Roland.
Bring these tidings to Gustadolf at once. Is that everyone? Good. I have important news for all of you. What you see before you is to be seized by the Duchy of Esfrost. You shall not speak of this beyond those in present company. Any who do will be punished to the fullest extent of the law.
But, Lord Dragan, are not the resources we mine destined to be shared among nations?
This matter is not up for debate. A discovery of this magnitude could reshape all of Norzelia. And so I ask this of you. Stand with me, as I lead this great realm into a new era.
You risk much giving us these orders. I shall do exactly as you say.
I thank you. I have already sent the Archduke a letter informing him of our find. When I am appointed Prime Minister, I promise to reward you all handsomely for delivering me such a boon.
You are to be Prime Minister?
Or Ambassador to Glenbrook, perhaps. Time will tell. Either way, with this I shall make my mark. And do what neither Father nor Gustadolf ever could.
What news from Dragan, dear brother?
I never dreamt our hypothesis would prove true.
So you take him at his word?
I have no choice. The spy I sent to shadow him corroborates his report.
And? What are his demands?
He wishes to be named Prime Minister in exchange for secreting it away to Esfrost. Negotiations with Glenbrook are in the offing, should I refuse.
So he means to threaten you?
He is stronger than I believed him to be. Certainly what he has uncovered is worth the price he asks. What would you do, were you me?
Keep the secret safe, naturally. Did you not send a spy for this very reason? Surely expected this would happen.
I did, and they have been issued emergency orders.
Then leave the rest to me. I shall depart at once.
How fortunate I am to have a brother who knows me so well. Ah, Dragan, you will rue the day you dared place Glenbrook beside me on the scales of your feeble judgment. I hand down the orders. Yield or be crushed beneath my heel.
Okay, let's take a look here if there's any side stories, and nope, not looking like there's going to be any. Okay. So it says, Roland comes to the Rosellan village bearing a proposal for Serenoa.
The dress measurements are finished at last. I applaud your patience.
Is it exactly as you hoped?
It is indeed. I can hardly wait to see it finished.
I am glad to hear it.
There you are.
Prince Roland. And Huette besides. What brings you here?
We were looking for you.
We inquired around Castle Wolfort and heard you all had come here.
Has something happened?
Father has asked me to keep watch over the mines. Won't you join me?
You scarcely need ask, of course.
A wise course of action, seeing as you will be overseeing the mining operations.
And we can present Dragan with the gifts we procured abroad.
A fine opportunity to get to know the man better. He is quite talented, is he not?
He is a man with grand visions for the future, that much is certain. I shall tell you more of him along the way.
Then let us waste not one moment more. To the mines!
I'll have the dress ready in time for the ceremony, my lord.
You have my thanks, Jerome.
Serenoa and Frederica journey to the Rosellan village so she may be fitted for her wedding gown. The young lord gains an unexpected moment of quietude while he waits. However, Roland soon arrives with orders from King Regna to inspect the Grand Norzellian mines, where Dragan has made great progress.
Okay, looks like we've got another exploration phase next. Yeah, looks like nothing else is available. So it says, House Wolfort pays a visit to the Grand Norzellian mines where they are reunited with Dragan.
How will Gustadolf respond to my offer? I should think there's but one logical answer. Should he refuse for some reason, I will need Father's aid. I must apprise him of the situation.
Lord Dragan, Prince Roland is here from the Crown City.
What's this? Prince Roland and my friends of House Wolfort. To what do I owe the honor?
Apologies for the sudden nature of our visit, Dragan. I have come on Father's orders to offer our sincere gratitude, as well as to observe the mining operation.
Splendid! The miners will no doubt be heartened by your highness's presence.
Does the mining continue apace?
Indeed it does. There are no problems to report. And what of your trip abroad, Lord Serenoa?
It was most enlightening indeed. We even brought something for you. I do hope it's to your liking.
Authentic as frosty cheese. One of my favorites.
We thought you might be in need of a taste of your homeland after so much time away.
I have visions of this cheese in my sleep. You have no idea how happy this makes me.
It is enough to see you happy.
I am glad our deliberations were not in vain.
Dragan, I believe it was you who said the future is in the hands of the Ardent Youth. We are of like mind. Let us shape the future together.
Indeed. That future is close at hand. I suspect we will reach across the border and ask for your cooperation in due course.
And I shall gladly assent.
Yes, we eagerly await your offer. Now then, I was thinking I might examine the quarry.
Wait, Your Highness! One of the tunnels caved in but a few days ago. I would advise against entering just now.
Did you not assure us moments ago that the mining continues apace?
The miners are working to repair the damage as we speak. It is simply too soon to allow you inside.
Was it caused by a blast?
It was, in fact. We were perhaps a bit overzealous in attempting to remove some of the bedrock.
I had no idea your explosives were so powerful. How do you make them anyway?
I would love to tell you, Your Highness, but I'm afraid we must keep some of our secrets. What I can say is that salt is a vital ingredient.
Surely you jest.
I thought you'd be surprised. I could scarcely believe it myself at first. A gargantuan tome in the archives opened my eyes to the many uses for salt, beyond seasoning our daily dishes. And now I pass what I've learned to you, Lord Serenoa, as a token of my gratitude for your visit.
The power of salt.
'Tis a compendium of my research on the uses of salt. I encourage you to peruse it at your leisure.
I most certainly shall. 'Tis a most valuable gift.
Fascinating indeed. I too would like to read it when you are through, my lord.
I look forward to hearing your impressions.
At any rate, I see the sun hangs low. Shall we save a tour of the mine for the morrow?
Yes, perhaps that would be best.
Yes, of course. I shall prepare entertainment and lodgings for your party at once.
Alright, the mines appear to be operating apace. Perhaps I'll survey the operation more closely until my bedding is ready. Let's go in and check the notes here. Oh, wait, what? What is the power of salt. It's right here, top option. Salt is a foodstuff necessary for human survival, but that isn't all it is. It has myriad applications beyond the kitchen, and contains within it the power to change our world as we know it. In this book, I, Dragon Azfrost, have recorded the results of my research in the Grand Duchy's archives, the culmination of everything I learned poring over ancient texts from all across Noselia. For example, salting food is an excellent method of preservation, but doing so on a large scale is untenable due to the mineral's costly nature. If we could preserve large stores of food, it would be easier for people to travel over long distances, or help us trade goods and supplies in even greater quantities. It could even be possible to explore the hitherto unplumbable depths of the Hyzantian desert, or to sail beyond the great falls in the south. Even more indispensable are salt's medicinal benefits. My predecessors used what limited salt they have to conduct various experiments. Though salt's scarcity makes it nigh impossible to put their findings into actual practice, they have shown that salt can be applied to great effect in developing medicine, producing materials such as leather or glass, and animal husbandry. Their research even suggests salt can be made into a volatile blasting agent. I expect even further possibilities will be discovered as the research progresses. Though whether research can progress remains to be seen with the source under Hyzant's tight-fisted control. Well, we must not abandon hope for the better Noselia salt could help us realize. Someone must clear the way forward, else this new era of prosperity will die before it is ever born. What I am attempting to create will be vital to this effort. The potential of salt is the potential of Noselia's future, and that of all of us who dwell within this great realm. I dedicate this book to all those who, like me, are striving for a new era. May it help guide us to a brighter future. Dragon Azfrost. Every time I see his name, it makes me want to say dragon. I've come to deliver lunch to my husband and his fellow miners. They eat like horses, and yet I still manage to make too much. Right, Sheila says, Esfrost is hard at work building a rail car that will transport the ore that we take from the mines. Can you imagine how much more efficient that will make the process? Yeah, we actually get to see that later. I never expected Prince Roland and the Lord of House Wolford himself would grace us with their presence. 'Tis truly an honor. I thank you for making the journey. Well, here's a miner. Must have been a hard journey to get here. The roads to the mine aren't exactly well worn. Watch your step as you return home, Lord. All right, Benedict has a conviction choice here. So it says, he says, despite the explosives collapsing one of the tunnels, mining appears to be on schedule. Running a mine, let alone one operated or owned by 3 nations, is no easy task. The lack of unrest is a credit to Lord Dragon's leadership. To that end, indulge me with a hypothetical. Suppose you led this operation and an incident occurred. How would you respond? Let's see here. So I'm at 5 Liberty choices. That's 250. I'm going to go Liberty again on this one, which is the middle option. The top option is utility, middle liberty, and bottom morality. So it says, I would hear of the problems firsthand from the miners themselves. Issuing orders blindly from above leads to chaos. Meet the problem where it lives and deal with it directly. You've got a good head on your shoulders and an admirable desire to lead. However, you do not operate in isolation. Hyzant and Esfrost will see it as their duty to participate in the mediation process. So it will be up to us to deftly navigate those waters. I shall bear that in mind. So the funny thing, too, about this little aspect of the story is, you know, Dragon is essentially hiding the fact that they've found something here. And it's not realistic to me to think that that secret would have remained a secret, being that there's 3 different nations here. Now, you know, I think from I don't know, did we see the scene already where Dragon is telling the miners to basically keep quiet, and kind of paying them off? Well, sort of, right? Like saying that he's going to end up being the prime minister. Yeah, that happened already. But the fact that you've got, you know, it's because of the fact that it's 3 different nations. Now, yeah, maybe all of the miners would be like, yeah, you know what, screw my homeland, apparently, or you know, essentially, and we'll keep this a secret. But it's just very unbelievable. Anyways, that is apparently what's happening. So. Let's talk to this guy. Lord Dragan's father, Minister Svarog, is a capable man as the Archduke himself. By all rights, he should be the nation's prime minister, and yet he's performing glorified border duty in the middle of nowhere. I can't imagine he's happy about it. Svarog, that's Frederica's uncle. If Minister Svarog is indeed as capable as this miner would have me believe, how did he end up steward of Twinsgate? Yeah, exactly. It gladdens me to see a healthy contingent of miners from the duchy alongside your brethren from Glenbrook. Here's some Roland. I was right to come with you. I do believe we've succeeded in lowering Dragon's guard. Here's a large HP recovery pellet. We'll be sending the iron we mined here to the consortium. They'll want to account for it all, as they do with salt and all else. The mine here is under jurisdiction of Claris. Never met a thing he couldn't sell, that one. Okay, let's talk to Dragan. The future is what we make of it, Lord Serenoa. May the partnership with your house prove long and fruitful. As I see it, the mines are merely the beginning. We have much work to do, and I pray I can count on your assistance going forward. Here's the mining schedule. Here we go. XX day of XX month, year XX. Geological survey complete. High likelihood good quality iron ore is present, though buried deep under hard bedrock. Mining it should be possible with explosives. And then there's a start of the dig, and then the trial dig with explosives succeeded. Discovered veins of iron ore. And start of the mine shaft construction. Start of iron ore excavation. Grand Rosalian Mines commemoration ceremony. Encountered bedrock harder than anticipated. Use explosives to blast our way through. And then there's no notes in the schedule after that. So it does kind of seem like it denoted, you know, a discovery of some sort. Although, it's hard to just assume that because there's no dates there. We can't actually see like how long ago that last entry was made, and like, you know, do they make entries at a specific interval? It's actually hard to, impossible to know from that schedule. Anyway, I understand a few fights broke out between the miners of Esfrost and Glenbrook at first, but such is bound to happen when two nations come together. Thankfully, they've learned to communicate, and now everything is progressing apace. Here's a stone. Let's see here. Stone mining schedule, large recovery pellet. It looks like there's 2 more treasures left. Here's Huet. The mine itself is larger than I imagined. I believe my hawk could fly cleanly through its tunnels. Did I talk to this guy down here? And teaching the others what I gleaned from all that reading I did in the... Oh, I didn't talk to this guy yet. Well, master the Esfrosti techniques, my lord. There's no shortage of practice down in the mines. Eredor says it's hard labor mining. I'll tell you, I didn't see a man here I wouldn't want for my own army if it came to it. Alright. We're paid for the iron we mine, so I had better break off a big chunk of ore, or better yet, find a rich vein. There's 450 coins. And then here is the Vanguard Scarf. I actually really, really like this item, and I really like it on Gila specifically. So it says guarantees the first action at the start of battle. You know, generally it's best for somebody that, you know, you either want to use an ability immediately. So like with Gila, I really like to cast haste right away on her first turn. So that's generally what I do with it. There are other times where I, you know, we'll swap that around to different characters, but Eredor is another one that's really good for that. Just so that he can kind of, you know, get out in front and oftentimes use like a provoke on a bunch of enemies. Only miners past this point, sir. We're clearing rubble from a collapsed tunnel. The rest of it may be unstable as a result. We cannot risk letting anyone through. And that should be it. We've got all the treasures, got the notes, and spoke with everybody, did our conversation. So let's end the exploration. Everything appears in order as I expected. Perhaps my bedding is ready by now. Okay, so next up actually is going to be the, well, I'm not going to do it in this video, but the next will be the Grand Norzelian Mines, but I'm going to go into the encampment because we've got some mental mock battles to do. Actually, it might just be one. Let me see here. Yeah, combating mages. So you can replay the subduing the smugglers, but there's no reward for doing so, which is kind of lame and doesn't really make that much sense. But I'm going to save combating mages for the next video. So as always, I hope the guide was helpful, and thank you for watching.